welcome to all of you. You're watching Tech24. I'm Julia Seeger. In this edition, we tell you how the global pandemic is changing the fashion industry, at least temporarily. Fashion weeks are going digital, clothes are becoming virtual. What on earth is happening in the fashion sphere? We'll discuss this with our guest, Jean-Paul Cauvin, the COO of the famous Haute Couture house, Julien Fournié. And sleeping disorders, including sleep apnea, have become a significant health issue in the world. Dan&J Cattle Car tries a device by the French startup Withings that will help you analyze your sleeping patterns and the quality of your resting time. Now, supermodel Naomi Campbell opened this year's Paris Fashion Week with a strong message, shedding light on the discrimination Black women can encounter in the industry. Let's take a listen.
The fight for equality and for diversity has been a long journey in society and in the fashion industry. Today, in 2020, we still have a long way to go, and the time has come to collectively call the fashion world to task regarding inequality in our workspaces and in our industry.
Now, in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, fashion houses and designers have had to adapt with this year's Paris, London, and Milan Fashion Weeks pushed online. The digital alternative to the couture shows took place with the majority of household names participating. And this is part of a broader industry transition to recreate fashion shows online through partnerships with digital platforms like YouTube, Google, Instagram, and Chinese agency Highlink. But a question remains, is this digital push a one-time thing? Well, to speak more about it, I'm joined in the studio by Jean-Paul Cauvin, the COO of Julien Fournié. Thank you very much indeed for being with us today.
Hello, Julia. Thanks for having me.
So first of all, for our viewers who are watching us, what exactly is a digital fashion week?
I will answer that question, but I would like to say a word about what Naomi Campbell said. She's a myth, a legend, and she has been really very important for the Black community worldwide as a model, as a supermodel, working with Asdin Alaya, with Yves Saint Laurent, with many designers of haute couture in Paris. It's very important. This at Julien Fournié is very important for us that all the communities find their place in our shows, always. In 2011, we had already produced the first haute couture show ever with only Black models for our first participation in the official calendar of haute couture. Just to tell you that she's right. Now we have to keep it constant, not make it only an event. Digital Haute Couture Fashion Week. What is it exactly? I would prefer another wording, if you don't mind.
Sure.
It's officially called Haute Couture Online. Why am I saying that? Because we are translating haute couture for the Haute Couture Paris Fashion Week online. There's nothing really digital about it in the process of making the clothes. We at Julien Fournié have been pioneers. We have worked in a partnership with Dassault Systems. Julien is the spokesperson for fashion for iPad Pro. So we work a lot with digital tools. We work a lot on 3D. I must tell you that the actual tools are not ready not ready yet. They're ready for 3D for, I don't know, for car design, for aircraft design. But for fashion, it's different because you have soft fabrics that fly, fabrics that stretch.
Right.
And it's really a lot of code to put in.
Right.
So it's a long process. We've been working on this for nearly 10 years now, creating the Fashion Lab, and it's not ready yet. So Haute Couture Digital Fashion Week is not produced digitally. It's digital movies, digital marketing around...
Digital catwalks?
Digital catwalks.
I mean, real catwalks that are put on platforms.
Exactly, it could be, but that are put on platforms, or not catwalks. And this is what I enjoyed so much in this past season that we've just lived this week, because the variety of haute couture, which is supposed to be the crème de la crème of the fashion designers in the world, from Paris, has shown a variety, a diversity of videos, a diversity of short films, which was really, really stunning.
Right.
I'm really proud to be part of this crowd.
Right. Now, what do you think in this fashion week that just happened, what do you think will remain in the digitalization? Because the digitalization happened because of COVID-19. The fashion industry was pushed towards that. What do you think was gimmick, and what do you think will actually remain after the crisis?
I'll be fully honest with you, and I can speak only from my point of view. We had to close during the lockdown because it was impossible to keep in the sanitary crisis the conditions. We couldn't in the premises we couldn't keep all the seamstresses safe, so we had to close down. It gave us time as well to sit back and think and rethink why we're doing fashion. All the designers in Paris have been doing this.
It's true that COVID-19 is forcing brands to really engage in experiments with, for instance, immersive technologies. There's also a new trend that's coming our way, which is a very odd trend. It's called digital clothing. But the idea is to sell virtual clothes for real money to help quench the online influencer appetite for constant outfit changes. Catherine Clifford has more.
As the social media trend for ever-changing outfits spirals to unsustainable levels, Russian designer Regina Trebina is creating garments that can only be worn online. She sells them in her virtual boutique for around 12 euros a piece.
Например, блогеры, которые постоянно вынуждены делать контент, и они заказывают вещи, они покупают вещи только ради фотографии, или они их берут в аренду. Почему бы, если вещь нужна только для фотографии, не...
It's also a chance for designers to explore their creativity using impractical or imaginary materials like wood, liquid silver, or even dragon skin.
Я очень люблю делать какие-то интересные вещи, необычные, яркие, которые, наверное, я бы хотела увидеть и примерить на своих фотографиях, но я не собираюсь их шить.
Buyers send a photo. Within 48 hours, they receive a picture of themselves wearing the newly purchased outfit. Replicant launched in May, and 4 brands have since joined its digital revolution. For a designer, any kind of art, it's also an opportunity to advertise their real-life collection. Their founder says the pandemic and increase in professions working from home has ramped up demand for digital outfits.
Способствует перепроизводству. Люди осознанно выбирают тот лук, который им нравится, используют его в социальных сетях, и при этом это все максимально экологично, максимально правильно относительно природы.
This buyer doesn't describe herself as a fashionista, but likes the idea of seeing herself in an unusual outfit.
И плюс я не вижу смысла в приобретении вещей, которые, ну вот это очень модно и интересно сейчас, а через пару лет это уже не интересно.
It's early days for the business model, but coming years will show whether the concept of buying clothes that you'll never actually put on will take off.
Jean-Paul, what's your take on this new trend?
I think it's fun. It's fun. It's like a costume. It's like wearing a costume, actually. Why not wear a costume on your social media? But you know something? Look at all the filters we're using on the Instagram for beauty, all right? Is this because of the filters that you're not wearing makeup? You're wearing makeup. I think it's complementary. It's not something that will replace. It's not going to be a substitute for fashion. It's going to be
unless we want to walk naked in the streets because these are virtual clothes.
Exactly. I mean, the police would arrest you, if you wear only virtual clothes. And I think it reminds me a lot of Second Life. 15 years ago, we were creating clothes on Second Life, and it was only virtual. This is what the virtual people need to understand. People wear real clothes. And when you work on virtual clothes, you have to make them real afterwards.
Right.
Otherwise, it's a limited use.
Is it a good tool for designers? Do you think it's something that we should keep on developing for designers?
Well, I think we should keep on developing this, but I'm not sure this one is the real tool because, you have to see where the seams are, what the architecture is. On these Instagram, basically, virtual clothing, you can always raise your arms, you can always move, it always flows. It's nice, it's unusual fabric that doesn't exist in real life, but in real life, it couldn't be real clothes.
Jean-Paul Cauvin, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us here on Tech 24. And we're going to move on now to Test 24. Quality sleep is one of the key factors of good health, something we often tend to ignore. And there's much going on in our bodies when we're actually asleep. To understand and improve some of these elements, Withings has developed Sleep Analyzer, which detects sleep apnea and even snoring episodes. Dhananjay Khatolkar tried out this device for us.
Sleep Analyzer is a mini tablet-sized module that is connected to a network of sensors. This assembly is placed in a fabric sleeve that measures 60 centimeters in length. The sensors include a pneumatic sensor, which is used to measure the respiratory rate and the heartbeats, as well as a sound sensor, which is used to measure snoring episodes and disturbances in breathing, often known as sleep apnea. Well, all you have to do is connect this sleeve to an electricity source, and then you establish a connection between the sleeve and a dedicated application called HealthMate, which is also developed by Withings. And once that's done, you just place the sleeve under your mattress and the application will start recording different parameters. So what are these parameters? Well, first of all, it tells you the duration of your sleep as well as the quality of your sleep. It then breaks down your sleep into light sleep, REM or rapid eye movement sleep, which is associated with dreaming, and deep sleep. Perhaps one of the most interesting features of this device is that it detects your snoring episodes. I'm sure there are many people like me who have had countless arguments with their partners about snoring. I have been in a constant state of denial as far as my snoring goes, but after using this device and checking out my snoring patterns on the application, the matter is finally settled in favor of my partner. For the application tells me that last night I had 7 snoring episodes. Back to you, Julia.
That was Dhananjay Khatolkar. I'm also going to thank our guest today, Jean-Paul Cauvin. It was a pleasure to have you on the set of Tech24 this week.
Thanks, Julia. Anytime.
And that actually brings us to the end of this week's edition of Tech24. We hope you enjoyed it, and do stay with us here on France 24.